Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got a video that's slightly different from what I normally do. I've had a care package, that's all I can call it. I'm going to do an unboxing of something I've just received from a very good friend of the channel, James. James is a huge collector, one of the most generous and most sincere people I've come across whilst I've been in the community. If you'd like to know more about James, you could head over to the Retro Ghettos YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. You should already know who he is. Great YouTuber in his own right. But he has got multiple videos on there featuring James and a couple of room tours. And what James has been able to amass in such a short space of time for his own gaming area is absolutely fantastic. I don't think I've seen anything as impressive, especially in such a short period of time. Now, James has been very supportive of myself and my relatively small channel ever since the inception, and for that I'll always be grateful. He's really supported me, always enjoyed the videos, shared, commented, and also, you know, he's given constructive criticism where needed, all that kind of good stuff. And for that, yeah, I'm very grateful. I prefer that kind of thing rather than someone tell me, yeah, it's good or it's just bad. Let me know where it's going wrong, let me know what I'm doing right, and then we can try and improve the channel. I only do this as a hobby, really, and hopefully to entertain all of you guys out there. So, without further ado, let's have a look at what James has sent me. He told me there was a package on the way. It should be with me by 1 o'clock today. It's here. It's bigger than the sun. Okay, maybe not quite the sun, but oh, you get the point I'm making. I didn't expect a box of this size. Now, it's quite loosely packaged, but I haven't actually looked inside yet. So let's have a look and see what James has sent me. I'm almost scared to look because James is that generous of a guy. I'm just worried about what's in here. Let's have a look nevertheless. Oh my God. Wow. James. James, really? Okay, so this goes back to his gaming room tour that's on the Retro Ghettos channel. James has got a lot of standout pieces, and one of the ones that I believe that I, alongside many other people, commented on. James has sent me as a gift. I know James has recently upgraded, but nevertheless, he didn't have to give this away. Anyway, let's have a look at what I would imagine, or I would hope, is the centerpiece of what he sent me. There are other bits in here, but I hope it's not as extravagant as this. Okay, so there's a note on the box of this item saying, I need a new home as I've been demoted. Well, I'm going to promote you in my house. And yeah, this is something that I really like. I saw him having this displayed in his room. And as someone that grew up in the 80s, huge fan of the RoboCop type era films, this was one of the standout pieces. I'm just in shock that you've sent this over to me, James. This is amazing. You know, I'm lost for words, and I can't thank you enough. Let's have a look inside. And you know what? For someone with such a limited gaming area / space as myself, it's actually the ideal size. I'm gonna struggle regardless to get it in there, but I will get it done. I'll make a point of it, I promise you. So yeah, look at this. This is really, I mean, James has upgraded. I've seen his latest Ed 209 model, and wow, it's almost like he's brought the real thing. He probably will buy the real thing at some point down the line, knowing James, but he's just taking it step by step. And by doing so, he's sent me his first purchase of the Ed 209. Oh, I believe it's his first purchase. And yeah, this is great. And James did say it was relative to a small pickup that I made recently at the London gaming market. And he's right, it is. I'm now going to try and forge some kind of display now, incorporating this and a small pickup that I recently got, which I'll now show you. And that was this. Now, okay, that's going to have to take some sort of center stage in the area behind me. It has to. It's going to be done. And James, my friend, I can't thank you enough. This is more than generous. And like I said, I'm really lost for words. And that doesn't happen often with me if you know me personally. Being lost for words, yeah, it's not really something that happens too often, but you've accomplished it. You've accomplished it, James. Well done. Wow. I love this. But James being James, that's not all. Now, I think James is probably, there's a retro gaming shop out there called Vintage Gamer. James is probably their best customer. I do think he owns shares or something in there. He definitely sleeps there at least once or twice a week, I think, just to make sure that he doesn't miss out on the deals. And occasionally they do gift him some free pieces due to his fantastic custom. And I believe this was one of the pieces they may have gifted him for free. And James has kindly chucked it into the care package. And it's got labelled on it. It's £25. And I think he got it for free. But, you know, still, to send it over to me for free as well, you didn't have to do that. And that's really appreciated. As a fan of wrestling, more so growing up in the mid-80s and the 90s, I think I had a massive break from wrestling around about 1994. It's kind of where my interest waned before I started watching once again in the early 2000s, and I had to catch up on all the stuff that had happened in between, you know, the NWO stuff and everything. I wasn't watching live when all that stuff was taking place. I started watching British wrestling as a child, and then I got into American wrestling around about the summer of '89. I think the first pay-per-view that I ever watched or borrowed was SummerSlam '89 and Survivor Series '89, and then from that point on I was hooked. Had to watch every pay-per-view, every show going forwards, and also it meant I had to do my history and revise and go and watch anything from previous. And that was quite hard to get hold of in that time, you know. That was definitely quite hard to get hold of. Things like your 1988 Royal Rumble, 88 pay-per-views especially, until they got the Coliseum home release. And even then they wasn't really released on a wide scale that I saw anyway. You had to kind of hunt them down. But anyway, enough wrestling talk. James has sent me over this lovely WWF Superstars LED game machine. Now, we've all had one of these type machines growing up if you're around about my age, whether it be a knockoff Systema or whether it was the leading company in Tiger Electronics. It's not saying much, but they were the leader of this kind of thing at one point. You know, it was I think everyone had a Tiger Electronics, didn't they, in the 90s? I remember vividly seeing the Double Dragon Tiger Electronics game in a Freeman's catalogue or something like that, and telling all of my friends that I'd be getting it for Christmas because it's what I'd asked for. I got laughed at, I got mocked. They was all telling me that I was a liar. No such thing was even nothing like this existed, I was told. I received incessant mocking about my claim until January, when I went to school with it, and then after 15 minutes later of everyone playing it, they all went back to mocking me because it was crap. But yeah, nevertheless, for those 15 minutes, I was the cool kid. Never forget. But yeah, James, thank you so much. This is another thing that I'm going to have to display somewhere. Not just because I think it is really, really cool, but also because, yeah, I don't really get gifts per se. And I appreciate any gift that anyone ever gives me. It's a lot of gifts there, isn't it? Gift. But yeah, I appreciate anything that anyone ever gives to me as a gift. They won't get chucked in a corner or anything like that. It'll all be used as best as I can possibly use it. And this is something that definitely needs to be displayed one way or the other. I'm not going to be playing it on a regular basis. I think James knows that. So other than that, what's the point in having it? You've got to display it. It's cool as well. I mean, look, you've got Hogan there taking up the entire one side of the screen there. Yeah, well, he was, I guess, the star at the time. Doesn't look like Warrior was part of the company at the time this was made. He's not on here. It's that kind of 91 sort of period, isn't it? Or 92, where he was kind of out the picture for a short period of time. On the other side, you've got The Undertaker, we've got Earthquake, Sergeant Slaughter, Mr. Perfect, and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Anyway, after a quick jump cut there, I've got a temporary place for RoboCop and Ed 209. Just up in the corner there. That's their temporary place until I can figure something a little bit more practical out. But even there, they look great. Yeah, I'm really overwhelmed and chuffed. Thank you so much. So we've got the game, we've got the Ed 209, which are more than enough. And then we go into here, and James has sent me a whole load of OG Xbox games, it seems. I'm collecting for the OG Xbox. I'm really enjoying collecting for it. And James has got an absolute ton of stuff, to the point where I think James is actually considering opening up a shop to try and get rid of excessive stuff. Yeah, he sent me over a whole load of bits here that I need for my collection that we've discussed in the past. And these are the games that I've spoken to James about that he showed me, and I've asked him to send me a price. And he's ignored me and just gone ahead and sent them anyway. James, thank you. But let's go through the games anyway. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks on the OG Xbox. Really nice condition. One I've been wanting to pick up for a while, but I've always wanted to have a look and make sure it was at a price that I was quite happy with. I've seen it in CEX multiple times, and yeah, I never get to see it in a good condition or with manual. So I've not been comfortable paying the price that they've wanted for it without either a nice case or a nice case and a manual. I don't care if this has got a manual or not. It's a gift. Thank you so much, James. Thank you. I'll be playing this one pretty soon, actually. Pretty soon. It's going to go quite high on the top of my list of my OG Xbox games that I need to play. Now, this is one that's definitely needed in the collection. Not sure how often I will play it, as it's never been a series that I've been a huge fan of. But I think it deserves a place in anyone's OG Xbox collection. It's quite widely available, and I don't know why I've not picked it up in the past. But however, Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. Now James has put most of these games into case protectors as well. Well, that's brilliant. Thank you, James. I feel really posh now that I've got game protectors. Not something that I'm used to, game protectors in the slightest. I grew up with games with no covers, let alone game protectors. We've got a copy of the original Godfather on the OG Xbox. I've already got this on the PlayStation 2. Nice to also have a copy, and a really nice copy at that, on the OG Xbox as well. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the game. I've only ever played this on the 360, but I highly doubt it's that much different, because when this came out, the 360 was still in its infancy, and the graphical and the technology, the leap, shall we say, was not that significant at the time, because developers, it appeared, to still be trying to get to grips with how to use the new power that they'd received with Xbox stuff, the 360 rather. And for that reason, it's going to hold up, I would imagine, just as well as any of the other versions of the God. Now, another Mortal Kombat game here. I'm not sure if I've actually got this one, but when we was discussing games that I needed out of his spare set, I asked him to maybe keep this one aside because I wasn't 100% sure. But that is Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. We've also got Star Wars Battlefront. I haven't played many Star Wars games since the original SNES games, if I'm honest with you, and of course the Lego games as well. Anything in between I've got very limited experience with, and to get something like this in the collection, especially as it's a gift, give me that further impetus to actually maybe play them. Moving on, we've got The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. I don't know a great deal about this game other than the small clips that I've seen online and very, very short and brief reviews. And each of those reviews, the main consensus is that you're just smashing things up. And for that reason alone, people said it was quite a fun experience. You can't go wrong with that, really, can you? If it's all done well and the controls are right and just smashing things up, it's a good time. You can't do it out there legally. However, with an OG Xbox, you can get away with absolutely anything. Another Star Wars game as we move on, Star Wars Obi-Wan. I know very little about this game. I look forward to finding out about it now that it's in my house and now that it's going to be entering the collection. Yeah, thank you, James, and I'll be trying this one out. I kind of lost the whole Star Wars vibe a bit with the second go around of films. Like everyone, I was hyped for the Phantom Menace, and it wasn't bad. It was okay. It was overhyped, but then that's just Hollywood for you. The second one, can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now. That's how lackluster it was. And the third one I actually really enjoyed. Something the Sith. Again, I really did lose any enthusiasm for Star Wars during that trilogy. I did enjoy the final part, very much so. But not enough to keep me interested in a whole Star Wars thing. To the point where, what have we had since Disney took over? 7 films maybe? I don't know. Am I right there? I've not watched one of them. Am I missing out? I probably am, in all honesty. I know some are viewed more favourably than others, but I've not watched a single one. Should I change that? Is that something I need to rectify in my media life? Moving on, another franchise that I've never really dug into, and that was primarily because it was more something that your 16-bit owners would have back in the day. People on an Amiga, people on an Atari ST. Now, people like myself that had an Amstrad 464, I don't believe we had the option of even trying games like this out. And another franchise I'm curious to actually try. Never really delved in it, and for the reasons that I mentioned previously. And that is Leisure Suit Larry, and this one is Magna Cum Laude. Uncut. I've got no idea what this game's about. I've got absolutely no idea what I'm meant to do in it. But this is the only Leisure Suit Larry game that I own, and therefore I'm going to give it a go and find out what the franchise is all about. I would imagine that the Xbox games, the console versions, are vastly different from the games that everyone grew up on the Amiga and the ST. But hopefully they've kind of kept the ethos of the game, so I'm still going to be able to understand where the fuss or where the hype came from. And I love this. It's still got the Game Station stickers on it. And who wants to see the return of Game Station in the UK? I think with the current state of high street gaming, it's everyone. We all use CEX. Some moan, some don't. There's reasons to moan. There's reasons to enjoy having CEX around. Fact is, we'd be worse off without them. I don't see how anybody could contest that. But yeah, a bit of competition. It's all healthy. I would happily see a franchise or a chain of shops like Game Station come back just to put companies like CEX on their toes. Competition is great, and I think personally for the consumer like me, like you, having more than one franchise out there that's like CEX would be better for us. We've got a couple out there like Beso, the Gadget Shop, but I don't see them to be as committed to tech and retro as CEX are. They operate, from what I understand, mainly on a franchise-based system, and so it's all going to be very dependent on what the owner of that franchise wants in his shop. For an example, I've got a Beso in Stratford, which is quite local to me. The gaming section is it's terrible. Let's be honest, it's terrible. Could be worse, but it's not good. And they dedicate themselves more to the mobile phone and PC side of things, which is obviously where they get their money and their main income from. And then you go to a Beso that's in something like Southend. Now obviously they do the same. They sell the tech, they sell all that sort of stuff. If you go to the back of the shop, this particular owner of this Beso franchise has got some out of this world retro items. We're talking mint Dreamcast stuff, we're talking 3DOs, we're talking Mega Drive. I mean, the stuff that guy's got in there is just fantastic. And yeah, it just goes to show it's all very dependent on the owner. If you had another franchise out there that was, shall we say, more committed and followed the same guidelines as what every CEX pretty much does, then I think competition would be healthy, and us as consumers, it'd be very beneficial to us all. Anyway, we've got Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb on the OG Xbox, and look at that, 4 for £20. Now I remember those stickers vividly. I used to go into my local GameStop, and also there was one in Walthamstow where my wife is from, when I used to go and visit her years ago before we actually moved out together. And I loved the 4 for £20 section. I picked up some great stuff in those sales. Some of it is worth an absolute fortune now, and unfortunately most of it I probably traded in at one point or another, to the point that I've had to go back out there and get it at as best I can. I haven't gone out there and paid crazy prices, but there are games that I really regretted selling amongst that, and yeah, I'm slowly but surely getting them all back into the collection. It's just finding them at the right price. Okay, next we have got the Capcom Classics Collection. This is great. Thank you so much, James. I've got this on the PlayStation 2. However, I can't find the disc. I know I've got the cover out there somewhere. I've seen it quite recently when going through cupboards. But if you ask me where the disc is, I have no idea. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And this is a way that I'm going to be introducing some of my young'uns to playing some of these timeless classics. We've got Silent Scope. Star Wars Republic Commando. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. Soldier of Fortune 2. And then we move on to a couple of steelbooks that James mentioned that he had. Again, duplicates. James's collection is crazy. He's got duplicates after duplicates. You know, there was a book many years ago called The People Under the Stairs. I think James has got people living under his stairs, and that's where he just stashes all his old duplicates and his old consoles. And he's a very caring man. And these people that live under the stairs, he just gives them the opportunity to play some retro games. Because I don't know how he's just got duplicates of things like this flying around all over the place. So James never changed. We've got a lovely steelbook here of Resident Evil 5. Now, I didn't even know this was potentially coming. We never discussed this one at all. But thank you so much, James. Resident Evil 5 is... I actually really like Resident Evil 5. A lot of people say it's where the series took a bit of a downturn. And I understand that. For me, it was just more of a case of it took a change of direction rather than taking a downturn. Yeah, I really enjoyed Resident Evil 5. It's better than 6. I think 6 was the one that had the most controversy in terms of the OG fan base. But 5 for me, definitely more of an action game. But you knew it was a Resident Evil game by the content. And yeah, lovely steelbook there. Thank you so much, James. And now I knew James was sending me these, as we did actually speak about this previously. Driver Parallel Lines. Another lovely steelbook here. Great condition. James did tell me there's no manual with this one. No problem. It's a gift and I cannot complain. Something like this, if I was to see it out and about in the shop at a decent price without the manual, I'd buy it anyway because it's just that nice display piece, isn't it? The manual's great, but it's definitely not a deal breaker when it comes to something like this. And finally, something that I had in my possession a few years back. And you know, you make that decision, let's move on all your old stuff and buy new stuff, and I done that. And I think I bought this for £2 to £3. I ended up trading it for something like £6, and the price has slowly but surely skyrocketed. You see this now at CEX around about £20 minimum, and if you see it being sold independently, it's normally going to be higher than the £20 that you see in CEX. And that is the PlayStation 2 version of Resident Evil 4 Steelbook. Now, I'm really glad to get this one back in the collection. Thank you so much, James. Complete in box with manual. One of the biggest regrets that I sold this on for. At the time, when I got about £6 in trade, that was fair. That's what it was going for around about that time. So I'm not going to moan about being conned and not getting much for it. That's just how it was. It's just as time goes on, you realise what you let go. And yeah, I think James has told me he's got multiple copies of this. And for that reason, he said, here, take one. And who am I to say no? The first ever gifts that I've been sent, per se, to the channel Never expected to have that sort of thing. And what a set of gifts it was. I'm flabbergasted, totally grateful, humbled, and excited to try the stuff that you send me over, James. Some of this stuff here is fantastic. You've really given my OG Xbox collection a huge boost. I'm really enjoying collecting for that console. To James for the donations. It's very kind. And thanks to everyone, must I say, now within our Discord that we all chat in. It's the Retro Ghettos Discord group. Great community over there, very friendly, very, very hospitable. As nice as everyone is in there, we all like to see who can try to bankrupt each other first. Enablers going to enable. If you did like this content and any other kind of content that I produce, such as game hunts, news and views, please take the time to consider subscribing to the channel. It's much appreciated. Give us a like, give us a share, all that good stuff, because interaction on the channel helps my content get seen by a much wider audience. All that's left for me to do now is to get this stuff put away nice and tidy and reflect on what game I'm potentially going to play first. Thanks again, take care, and I'll see you on the next video.